How about some game time decisions with you here on SportsGrid? It is a Thursday night. I am Kevin Walsh, and we have 2 hours to break it all down and make it happen with you right here on Game Time Decisions. We are live once again. The college basketball world is on fire. We had games as early as 12:30. I believe it was South Alabama and Georgia Southern. Outrageous. Murray State still trying to score points on that court. By the way, we are live with some WCC play. You know how they say a lot to a little doesn't do it justice. 32-2. I'll say it again. 32-2. Pacific Pepperdine. Pepperdine is up 30. 9 minutes into the game. What is that? It's a 31.5-point live line. That's pretty tangy, folks. Pretty tight. Does that game have juice? Does that game open up 150.5 live sizzle play? It's possible. We'll think about it. Think about a lot of these leagues here. Again, the college basketball landscape right now with the 2 more tournaments starting. That Pepperdine Pacific game is the intro to the WCC tournament, which is really just Gonzaga and St. Mary's playing in the championship game. Typically, we also did bring in the Missouri Valley. Indiana State, the Sycamores are favored to win that. We will continue to break these down. It's a busy night here on Game Time Decisions. So let's open this thing up so we can put eyes on tonight's slate and where some of the action, where some of the value could be. We'll begin with the NBA card here. And Boston-Denver is obviously your game of the night. Many people labeling it a finals preview, and rightfully so. These are the favorites in their respective conferences. It's the defending champion Denver Nuggets, and it is the favorite to be champion Boston Celtics. Now, Boston, as we bring our radio audience into the fold, Sirius XM Channel 159. Appreciate everybody who is here with us across the network, including SportsGrid Radio. I'm Kevin Walsh with you on Game Time Decisions. But for this game, Boston was favored on the road, laying 1. It's flipping maybe Denver -1. This game's picked. You can certainly touch these money lines here on whomever you really do trust to win this basketball game. It does feel important for Boston, though. It does. When you think about this for the Celtics, they had Denver coming to their place. And at the time, the Celtics were unbeaten at home. And they lost, laying 8 in the game. That was nightmarish because it was a reminder to everybody that you just don't trust the Celtics. And I know we're far removed from that. A lot more trust has been put back on Boston's table. They just had their 11-game winning streak snapped after beating the Warriors by a gazillion. They lost by 1 in a controversial finish to the Cavs. It happens. So it's a bounce-back spot for Boston as well. Let me tell you, if the Celtics don't get this, they are going to be slandered mercilessly, and rightfully so. But if Denver gets it, are we ready to shut the door on this MVP race with Nikola Jokic? Possibly. But we'll also see the extension of their gap and everybody else in the Western Conference, because not only is there big news that'll fall out of this game, there's big news heading into tonight's slate here. Look, a lot of good stuff. We'll see how Phoenix handles Toronto. The Bulls and the Warriors could have some juice. Luka looking to stay hot here against the Heat. But Minnesota and Indiana is likely the second biggest game on the board because Karl Anthony Towns, unfortunately, with a torn meniscus, is out for a while. We don't know how long. He could miss the first round of the playoffs. He could miss the season. Time will tell. We haven't gotten that timetable yet. But the Western Conference odds wait for no one. We move those along today. Denver underneath 2-1. Clippers grow a bit stronger, plus 250. OKC creates some separation down to plus 650. Phoenix, a little extra love. Here's Minnesota. That's your 1 seed in the West. That is your 1 seed in the West at 12-1. And it isn't slander. Here's the story on the Timberwolves. For those that are not aware, this little 2-year window since they acquired Gobert. They brought in Rudy, and they were supposed to be dominant at minimum in the regular season. They weren't. Why? Cat missed nearly half the season. They still found a way to get into the playoffs, play Denver in round 1, and give them a test. So what happened this year? The team that was supposed to be great in the regular season was healthy, and they've been great in the regular season. Postseason will tell. People are always going to have a bit issue with an unproven team that's anchored by Rudy Gobert. That's the reality. But if Cat's going to come back This is must bet at 12-1. It's must bet. You can't get a 1 seed at 12-1, not if they're healthy. If they're not healthy, guess who's all of a sudden going to start circling? LA Lakers, Golden State Warriors. If Minnesota drops down to the 2, if Minnesota holds at the 1, these play-in teams will be hunting that matchup. And some will say that was going to be the case before the cat injury. And to a degree, you are correct. But this is a different scenario. And it doesn't mean Minnesota can't win without it. But you all of a sudden now, as the Timberwolves, could very well be lucky to be favored in your opening round matchup if you are without Cat. Unless they prove they can win without him, we'll see how they handle business tonight in Indiana. A short 1.5 to 2 point underdog. Let's bring the college board into the fold here. We've talked a lot about the conference tournaments, and rightfully so. I know it's where a lot of people have their eye right now. My quick pick will come from a conference tournament game. But if you take a look, we have the big Pac-12 teams in action. UCLA catching a couple from Arizona. Washington State in a rivalry game with the Huskies laying some as well. Here's the story. Arizona is up a half game right now and up a full game in the loss column on Washington State. The regular season odds have remained posted. We'll see how long that is true. But an Arizona win here would go a long way in closing the door and icing this out. I do believe the Cougars swept Arizona this season, which would, of course, give them the tiebreaker. So, again, we have to follow this along. But that is one of the big things with tonight's slate here. Arizona, UCLA, Washington State, and Washington. Let's put the NHL board in front of you as well. As always, Joe Madden will be joining us to help break us down. We've got Edmonton and Columbus, so that means Connor McDavid is on tonight's slate. Two of the all-time legends go head-to-head there, Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin, for us to keep our eye on. Good game here between Vancouver and Vegas. Vegas, the team just have not found their stride as much as we are used to this year. We'll see how they handle this game. And then your main event probably going to be the Toronto-Boston matchup. Can Austin Matthews continue his march towards an MVP trophy? Grabbed himself an overtime winner just the other night. How about a quick pick for the people? How about some Patriot League action? How about that? What a little Bucknell Bison plus the 5.5. That feels good. That feels right to me. This team is 10-5, a tidy 10-5 booked as a dog this season. They're playing American University, 6-6 as a favorite on the year. Bucknell is comfortably better on the defensive side of the basketball, and that is their advantage to, at minimum, hang with inside this number. I think they are live on the money line. That is one of two college basketball sides we are rocking with. The Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina refused to pay the people to start the day. The Bucknell Bison will not let us down. We'll put the rest of the card on the table next. You made the right decision by being here for Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh at SportsGrid. We'll be right back.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
4.22. The fast man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. We're back with you right here on SportsGrid. It is Game Time Decisions with you on this Thursday night. I just want to remind people again, because it's just started to get rolling here, the weekend Game Time Decisions live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time right here on the network, both Saturday and Sunday. Put your eyes on that Saturday college slate. My goodness, we're going to have a lot of fun this weekend, so make sure you are there. But enough about that. Let's get to the picks here. We already mentioned Bucknell. The other college side is in the horizon tonight. This game between Wright State and Northern Kentucky. I'm on the Norse, plus 7.5. These teams did just play in the regular season finale. It was a win and no cover for Wright State. They laid 6.5. They won by 6, so that number pushed up by a point. Doesn't concern me one bit. Wright State is a pretty tough 4-9 against the number as a home favorite on the season. And Northern Kentucky really finished out the regular season strong. 6-2 straight up record, straight up covering in both losses. So I do think Northern Kentucky can make a little noise here in the Horizon tournament. For those that are following along futures-wise, Oakland was the pick at plus 300. Need them to handle their business. They're a 4.5-point favorite against Purdue-Fort Wayne later on. NBA board, though, with a lot of juice. And I'll get to the main pick because I'm sure it's the game, even if it's at 10 o'clock, that everybody is chomping at the bit to get some action on. And that is the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics. I'll give you my thoughts on the side, which is Denver. Here's the deal. I know Boston is great, okay? I get it. Boston on the season is 48-13. They are winning 78.7% of their games. Denver is 42-20. They're winning 67.7% of their games. But we have to look at the circumstances. Why does home court advantage matter? Because Boston is 19-10 on the year on the road. It's a great road record. 65.5% of their games they win on the road. But that is not as high as Denver's 42-20 straight up regular season record. It's just not. Why? Because Denver's one of the very best home teams in all of basketball. 24-6. 24-6. That's 80% of their games. So if you take a look, okay, at where these win percentages land, right? Boston has been dominant at home all season long. They've only lost 3 times there. They're incredible. Again, this is a great basketball team. We all know it. We all know they're a great basketball team. But laying a number of any kind on the road, if this was a finals game, Denver lays 3. Stop. You know Denver lays 3. They showed it last year when the Lakers and the Nuggets played in the Western Conference Finals. They were willing to swing home court advantage wildly. Why not do it for a regular season game? I think it's a miss here on this number. Now, perhaps the books would have hung a larger number on Denver, but people are pounding Boston because this is a big game for the Celtics. It is. Don't overvalue it or don't undervalue it. Who out there with a Celtics future watches this game tonight, Jokic lights him up, Celtics get rolled by 15, and is happy about that ticket, especially where you have to pay to bet him? Come on now. Boston needs to put together a win here. Quite frankly, Boston wins this by 20, right? Because the Celtics know how to extend on people, too. They're good at that. They'll beat you up. Ask Golden State. They're good at it. But if Boston goes out here and wins by $1 billion, there's going to be some overreactions. That's what we need to see from this team. If this is the finals preview that a lot of people think it is, okay, Boston's going to have to win in Denver. Because Denver already let it be known, hey, we're winning in your building. We're winning in your building. Denver went in there. Boston was unbeaten on the year at home. Celtics laying a ton. Step-up spot. Primetime TV, here's the loss. You're not as good as us. You can't beat us. There's a lot of teams, I got to tell you. There's a lot of teams that look across at the Denver Nuggets and go, oh, God, somebody's got to help us out here. Lakers look at it, somebody's got to help us out, right? OKC might be that team, by the way. Thunder not scared of Denver. Thunder are not scared of that matchup. They're not. Boston might look across if they lose this game and say, you know what? Any other team out of the West, we like us. Yo, Jamal Murray, I don't know if that's the matchup for us. Boston's got to step up here. But again, I'm not on the side tonight. I found the good advantage with Nikola Jokic's over 8.5 assists. Dropping number due to a 3-game slide where he has missed this prop in 3 straight on the season, preventing a 4-game under streak. He's 3-1 in that spot. But more importantly, he's coming off of a 5-assist game. The overtime loss to the Phoenix Suns this season, when he's coming off of a game with 5 or fewer assists, he's gone and had 9 or more assists in 6 of the 7 following games. So I love this spot for Nikola Jokic assists here. We're going to play it over the 8.5. The other NBA prop that I'm on is Cade Cunningham's 11.5 rebounds plus assists. This is a nice one, getting Cade back at home, averaging nearly 13 RA on the year. But take a look at this. Last 12 home games, 11-1 over this prop on the season at home, 15-6. We know home court splits are real, right? We talk about home court advantage all the time when we're breaking down sides. We do, right? Why wouldn't we talk about it with a little rebounds plus assists? There's an advantage here on Cade Cunningham, especially with this team coming off of a road trip as well. Let's get him over the 11.5 rebounds plus assists. As far as the sides go, I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Dallas. Look, we talked about this the other day in the college game. The favorites at times, it's tough. Do I want to lay it? But this is a spot I trust the Mavericks in. It's a buy low on Dallas. Dallas has lost 5 of 6. The Heat are red hot. Gosh, the Heat are dangerous again. Let me get a Heat Celtics game, by the way, this weekend. Can we just move some things around? I just want to see. I just want a temperature check. Here's the story, though. Dallas, prior to this 5 of 6 losing streak, was the hottest team in the NBA. They had won 7 in a row. So water has found its level. They've balanced out a bit. But during that 7-game winning streak, they were 6-1 against the number, covering on average by nearly 12 points per game. Not winning on average, they were winning by nearly 17 a game. They were beating the number by nearly 12 points a game. The only non-cover is because they laid 12 to Washington and got backdoored on them. This is a spot here for the Dallas Mavericks to step up because Dallas is not playing a fully healthy Miami. No Tyler Hero. No Kevin Love. If these teams played fully healthy in Dallas, 4.5 sounds about right. Some injuries here. I get it. I think we're selling high a little bit on Miami, and we're definitely buying low on Dallas. Also buying low on the San Antonio Spurs. I think we get a little bit of an overreaction here with San Antonio. Here's what happened. Decade-long road trip, right? The rodeo trip. Come back home. Win 2 in a row. Both as a dog. One against the Thunder, which was incredible, and then one against the Pacers. So then they drop their number. They go to Houston, right? Only catch about 7, get cracked. So now they elevate the number back up to an 11. These teams played first game out of the break. San Antonio caught 10.5. The Kings are on the second leg of a back-to-back. What are you doing with this number at 11? No. We're overvaluing Sacramento beating the Los Angeles Lakers. On the season, the Kings are 10-5 against the number as home favorites, 3-6 this year without rest, and the Spurs are above 500 against the spread on a rest advantage. So we'll take the San Antonio Spurs, and we'll close it out with a little bit of juice here. Warriors and Bulls over 223. Both of these teams hit the over in 60% of the games or better when they play without rest. Both of these teams were in action yesterday. Golden State, man, I heard someone say, Golden State might not win again after that loss to the Celtics. Wrong. Smashed Milwaukee. That was a red-hot Bucks team. Stepped up on both sides of it, but specifically the defense. That was an impressive game from Golden State because they got up big. Milwaukee fought back, and then they absolutely dog-walked them in the fourth, held them to 9 points. That defensive effort carrying over, right? All the energy they had going into the game against the Bucks, big-name team, second leg of a back-to-back against the Bulls. Stop. Ayo Dosunmu was going to be running circles around this veteran backcourt here. And quite frankly, I think I look at the Chicago Bulls defense, and I don't see him stepping up here against Golden State either. So just to re-rack, reset, and go through this one more time. Cade Cunningham over 11.5 rebounds plus assists in their game tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. Also, Cade, by the way, has had a double-digit assists in both home wins he's participated in this year. I could see a Detroit win. I actually like them in the game, so keep your eyes on that. Jokic over 8.5 assists in the game with the Boston Celtics. Mavs laying 4.5 to the Miami Heat. Warriors Bulls over the total, 223. And San Antonio Spurs plus 11. College basketball-wise, Patriot League action. We've got Bucknell plus 5.5. And then in the horizon, Northern Kentucky plus 7.5. Coming up next year, not only do we stick with the hoops, we bring some hockey into the fold with Tom Vecchio. It is Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. We'll be right back.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. Let's make it happen, folks. It is a Thursday night here on Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh, and we're in the mix with Tom Vecchio. Tom, a lot to get to tonight. How are you?
I'm doing good, yeah. Like a lot to get to. Huge NHL slate, NHL trade deadline tomorrow. NBA is in crunch time for a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams are floundering right now, I guess is the best way to put it. They are just barely treading water. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I do want to just quickly mention this before I forget. The Pepperdine Pacific game that we told people was 32-2 when we started. It got worse, way worse. It's 58-9. There are 3 different players on Pepperdine outscoring Pacific at half. I have never seen anything like that in my life. Live number 47.5. Live total 141.5. I mean, Tom, let's be honest. Your guess is as good as mine. I know you are, again, I know we're here to do the NBA and the hockey, but 58-9. 58-9. Pepperdine Pacific. What's the...
I mean, I would lay the 50 points just because I want to be a part of history. Like I just want to be like, team covered 50.
I see that. Yep. Nope. I see that. That makes sense. I've done that. I bet NBA totals, over 285.5 because I want to be there for it. I like where your head's at, Tom. Let's talk about the NBA. And I'm on the Dallas Mavericks tonight. I'm giving them a chance at home here. Luka's been great. The results have been bad. For Miami, Jimmy's been great. The results have been great. They look dangerous as all get out once again. What do you make of the game between the Mavericks and the Heat?
I think we're in for an awesome one tonight. It's probably going to be one of the best ones on the slate. It's that time of year for the Heat and Jimmy Butler, as plenty of articles come out, showing that it's playoff Jimmy time. And I specifically like him over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. I think his PRA bet is fine as well. But sticking to rebounds and assists, maybe this game gets a little bit messy at the end, and that's where he really should shine. Pace-up spot for Miami. Like you said, bad results from Dallas as of late. Like no defense. They're giving up a ton of points. They give up, 130 some odd points, whatever it was the other night to the Pacers. So no defense from them. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the PRA bit is fine with Jimmy, but I will just take extra possessions, sloppy game, him picking up rebounds and kind of pushing towards a sneaky triple-double tonight.
Yeah, again, Jimmy, and I noticed this his first, game back. He was on a little bit of a heater before he had to step away from the team. And, here, Jimmy Butler is very interesting because the old narrative used to be when he was out east, Tom, LeBron isn't trying the regular season. I think that was a bit of a misconception. He just tried a lot more when the playoffs started. Jimmy actually does not even get close to his full capacity in the regular season. Like, Jimmy has proven he doesn't care. But he's starting to care again. And, they're a game back of the 4 seed right now.
Yeah, like this, like as you said, like we can, there's like, we have to look at a graph of like his production per game, like total PRA on a game-by-game basis. And there's probably like a distinguishing point every season, I would say, maybe a week or so before All-Star break or end of January, where like he actually picks things up, where he wants to be peaking at the right time. He wants to be healthy at the right time. The team clearly buys into what he, Spoelstra, and Pat Riley have going there. And like, you can't doubt them in the playoffs. Like I never doubt Jimmy. Just like the press conference that they have is like, we will be here when it matters. And that's all that needs to be said. And I don't doubt Jimmy Butler ever.
No, and you shouldn't, obviously, and you don't. And I'll add this, and it's something. The other day I was going through it. You look at the Boston Celtics, right, and they look down. And you pull up the Eastern Conference standings right now. Milwaukee, nobody trusts Doc. The Cavs, do you trust JB Bickerstaff? They were around what exit? The Magic, respectfully, nobody's picking the Magic to win the East. The Knicks, let me know when they're healthy, and then when they're healthy, remind me if you trust Thibs. The Sixers are all of a sudden in the play-in. Look, I think the Sixers are good, and I think they're great when Embiid's healthy. When you get that update that he's coming back, please call me, because I'll be pretty excited about it, Tom. Legitimately, not even in like a gimmicky narrative, Miami's dangerous. In a very real way, they feel like the second most dangerous team in this conference to the Boston Celtics.
Absolutely. Every other team, like you said, has question marks. And, I'm a big believer in the Cavs, but will they be healthy? Do they have enough experience to push past some adversity in the playoffs, which they haven't shown yet? I still think they have the pieces to get it done. I think you don't want to face the Cavs is essentially my point, but will they actually be ready for the playoffs? The Knicks, I could buy into the Knicks, but like you said, when they're fully healthy, let me know. And we're just not at that point right now.
Yeah, we're absolutely not. Off the beaten path a little bit, Tom, tonight. Detroit and Brooklyn. You've got some action in this one?
Yeah, really liking the role for Dennis Schroeder, over 6.5 assists. He's been over this mark in 4 straight games. No Cam Thomas, no Cam Johnson. Ben Simmons is done for the year. He's the main facilitator of the offense behind, or I'd say in front of Dennis Smith coming off the bench. So just it's an easy matchup. Pistons are over 9 assists per game to point guards. He should be out there for, I would say, at least 34 minutes tonight. There's no reason he shouldn't be out there. They're pushing for a play-in spot. This is a winnable game for the Nets. I'm expecting some back-and-forth action. He doesn't have the highest over-under, but really just the main facilitator, dishing the ball to, if Lonnie Walker, he was listed as questionable, not sure if he's playing, but to Dorian Finney-Smith, whoever might be, knocking down shots. Easy matchup for him and the Nets tonight.
And then let me just ask you, I know you maybe don't have a pick in the game, but Boston-Denver tonight, I feel like it's a really important one for the Celtics. Do you have any thoughts just heading into that matchup? A lot of people calling it a finals preview.
Yeah, it's about the Celtics, and I think this is a good time to get a position on a Jason Tatum MVP future before the game.
Okay, that's interesting.
I do have Tatum prior to the season. I also met at 50-1, so I'm on board with Tatum winning MVP.
So, okay, it is inarguable that if they win, his number will grow shorter, unless, which we can't rule out, he doesn't do much in the win. That happens sometimes, right? My only thing is, Tom, and again, there's the number's now down to 21-1, right? This award has not been about best player on the best team for a little while now. And that is Tatum's only case. Nobody outside of Boston thinks he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA. Right? Or do you?
I mean, I think five best, probably not 5 best, but in terms of his efficiency, what he does for the team, averaging, across the numbers, I think he has to be in the conversation between Jokic, SGA, Luka, and him. Those should be the final 4 players for when it comes to MVP. No one else should be involved.
Well, why definitively over Giannis for you?
I just think the Bucks have too many struggles, and there's no case that you can make for Giannis that you kind of can't make for Tatum unless it comes to you are looking at the minutia of rebounding and his defensive metrics, which are all not surface level stats, which is the argument we've been in for the past 2 years between Jokic and Embiid, where it's Embiid's super has the higher numbers, but Jokic is super efficient. So we're splitting hairs at a certain point when I will take the player on the best team doing his role.
Yeah, I think for me, though, and this is where you get into it, it's who's doing less with more, but the Celtics are 8 games better. It's all very interesting. At the end of the day, Jokic is going to win his 3rd one anyway, so we might as well talk some hockey. He is going to win. He is going to win it, Tom.
Yeah.
But we can we can handle that as it gets a bit closer. Look, a couple of interesting games on this board tonight. Edmonton on the road, though, is a minus 300 favorite. Big time total at minus, the 6.5 is at minus 150. What are you looking for here?
That's simple. That's Zach Hyman over 3.5 shots on goal. It's at plus 106. Hyman leads the Oilers in goals and shots on goal. It's not McDavid. It's not Draisaitl. It's Zach Hyman this year who leads them in shots and goals. Coming off a game against Boston, very exciting game the other day. He had no shots on goal. So a player that, again, simply is coming off for a bounce back spot. Going up against the Blue Jackets, they've allowed the 9th most goals and the 5th most total shot attempts per 60 minutes in 5v5 situations over the last 2 weeks. They are a terrible defense. This is a great spot for Hyman. This is a great spot for McDavid to put up 2 or 3 points as he normally does. But I specifically like Hyman for a goal and 3+ over 3.5 shots on goal.
I will say, it's one of the, I don't know, maybe you don't land, but he is still very clearly the best player in the league, right? Like, is that arguable? Like, is McKinnon, Matthews, Kucherov, are those arguments you'll listen to?
The only argument I make is that McKinnon is like a 1B to McDavid being 1A. Like it's not a step down. It's like a side step up. McDavid is still the best player.
Yeah, I think. I mean, he has 2 points, and it's just so normal. I mentioned Kucherov. You got some action on him tonight. What do you like there?
Yeah, 2+ points for Kucherov at -115. Yesterday, the Flames traded away one of their better defenders, maybe the best defender, Noah Hanifin, to Vegas. And over the last 2 weeks, the Flames are allowing 2.81 goals per 60 minutes in 5v5 situations, which is the 7th worst in the league. So you're taking a bad defense and just factually making them worse with Noah Hanifin out of the equation. So Kucherov, who has 105 points this year, is putting up points left and right. Also saw himself get jumped by McKinnon over the past 2 days because McKinnon had 8 points in the past 2 games. I like this as a kind of punchback spot for Kucherov to record 2+ points in a good matchup versus the Flames.
Love a good bounce back spot. I'll close on this, Tom. I made a decision while we were breaking it all down. I took the Pepperdine team total of 94.5.
Live.
So I couldn't lay the 50, but I took the team total. They'll score 100 on this Pacific team. It was 56-9, by the way. Oh, Pacific making a run at it. They lost the point at half. Tom, great stuff as always. We've got Joe Madden joining us next right here. It's Game Time Decisions on a Thursday night.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. I mean, it's a busy game time decisions. What else can you say? I mean, out of nowhere, you end up on a Pepperdine Pacific game where a team's up by 50. And you know what? You got to ask yourself, where else would you rather be? And the answer is nowhere because it's game time decisions. And to make that even more true, it's Joe Madden. Joe, it is a packed slate of NHL action. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Pack slate, craziness happening with the trade deadline ending tomorrow. So it's a hot night in the NHL for sure.
Yeah, let's start with maybe the best game, and it is in Boston. How about this little back-to-back here? Last time we saw the Bruins, I believe they were playing against Edmonton. Now they bring in the Toronto Maple Leafs here. Boston creeping up now, this money line, and understandably so. The total booked at 6.5. What do you see here, Joe?
You got to look at Boston here. And I know the juice is starting to go up on it, but I still think they're the right side. They won that last matchup in Toronto 4-1 on Monday, and they won the 6 games prior. I do think this is a short price on a Boston Bruins team where we're seeing Toronto on the second night of a back-to-back. Toronto starting Samsonov last night and not saving him for tonight kind of looked to me like they were conceding in this game today. I expected them to wait and not start, or just start well last night and not start Samsonov, but they did vice versa. So I do think the Bruins are the right side in this one. I've got to lay the juice on them. If you're looking at some players, I know Austin Matthews really does get up. So if you want to find a way to back the Maple Leafs, he's phenomenally strong versus the Bruins. He has had goals in 7 of the last 9. So I do think that's a right way to go. Pasternak here for the Boston Bruins. He's been phenomenally strong. You're just going to have to lay the juice with Pasternak at -120 for the anytime goal. But the Bruins are the right side. Swayman in net tonight. Interesting, though, to see if they will trade Ullmark. I've been hearing a couple rumors of that.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting if this game has any impact on the MVP award. Joe and I have talked about this award a lot here on Game Time Decisions, and McKinnon's status for a while is the favorite. Austin Matthews made the leap in front of him, but McKinnon is now back on such a heater. He has retaken the lead here, and if this is a Boston win, they hold Matthews goalless. That's a possibility. But if Toronto does pull an upset here, he puts up 2 goals. That's a fluid market right now, Joe. And again, we've been following that for a while. Let's keep going through these games here. I want to talk about Edmonton, who miraculously, Connor McDavid is not a top 2 favorite for the league MVP award, despite the fact that he has, it feels like 2 points in almost every single game. I bet him for 2 over the weekend. That worked out. You bet him for 2 the other night. In a game, I think they might have only scored 2 goals. He had 2 points. He's just incredible. What do you see here with Edmonton and Columbus?
Okay, Edmonton Columbus is going to be interesting here because we know the Edmonton Oilers are the stronger team. Pickard getting the start in net for the Oilers and Tarasov here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Johnny Gaudreau has been playing strong actually for the Columbus Blue Jackets as of late. And even though they're off that loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-3, I think this is a game that they stay competitive. So just trying to find value here on the Edmonton Oilers. I do think this is one because I believe in Columbus's ability to get those goals. I think this is going to be a higher scoring one. I've got to look at the over 6.5. That's coming in a little juicy at -142. But we know Edmonton's going to come out here strong. My concern here with Edmonton on the puck line is they're coming off that big win versus the Boston Bruins. They won that in OT. Low scoring game, and they've won their last 5. I could see this being a letdown spot. I think it's a 4-3 game either way. So I've got to look at the over 6.5, Kevin.
And again, that juice is continuing to climb. It's what we expect often from these high-scoring Edmonton Oiler games. Let's stick with the big favorites. And this one, though, is at least at home with Carolina against Montreal. The Canadians are around +260 on the money line here. This total priced at 6.5. Are you seeing any value in this game, Joe?
I think there is a way to find value. Now, we just found out Bunting will not be playing tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes for trade-related reasons. We know the Canes are coming in here off that terrible loss to the Winnipeg Jets. I was live on the grid Saturday night watching that unfold. This team got up so high, Kevin, and then the Jets were able to come back and get the win. So they're going to be kicking themselves, but they haven't played since Saturday. I think with line shifting, especially with Bunting out of the lineup tonight, you can look at Montreal only in that first period, though. I'm not brave enough to take them for the full game. Montreal, as an underdog, has been profitable in some games this season, but Sam Montague, I just don't trust him as of late. He was a goaltender I had a lot of faith in. As soon as he got that contract signed, he just hasn't looked like himself. So I am going to take the Montreal Canadiens in the first period on that puck line. You can take them plus a half a goal. That's coming in right around minus 136. And I think that is the best value in this game. Could they pull off the complete upset here? Absolutely. Because you look at Nick Suzuki, Kevin, we all keep talking about Austin Matthews, how phenomenal he's been playing, the goals he's been scoring.
Yeah. We did lose Joe's connection there just for a moment. But,
anytime goal tonight's coming in up.
Oh, there we go. All right, we lost Joe's connection there for a second, but Joe, we did get you right back there at the end. Can you just tell us that again, just in case the people didn't get it? What is the anytime goal scorer that you're looking for?
Yeah, Nick Suzuki. He's been absolutely phenomenal hot. He's sitting right behind Austin Matthews, and he's coming in at plus 230 for the anytime goal for the Montreal Canadiens tonight.
Right. Perfect. A little bit of juice there. Joe, let's stick with some of the best teams in the league. The Florida Panthers, I saw recently, I think their updated point total over-under, 114.5, which is obviously just huge, and it gives you an idea of how good of a hockey team this is. So their minus 250 price at home should come as no surprise. Do the Flyers have a chance in this one?
No, I don't think the Flyers have a chance. I think the Flyers absolutely struggle in this one tonight. Bobrovsky has been incredibly solid in his career versus the Philadelphia Flyers. And looking at his last 11 starts, he's allowed 2 or less goals in all 11. The Flyers look like they're selling off here. And this is not what I expected out of the Flyers. This team sitting third in the Metro with 72 points. I expected more out of them. I expected them to buy and try to make a run. Well, they're obviously waving the white flag here. I do think their team total under 2.5 at minus 136 is the way you have to look in this one. Could Bobrovsky get the shutout? Absolutely. I have faith in him tonight to come out phenomenally strong. And we know the defense here of the Florida Panthers has been so hot. It's the Flyers team total under 2.5 for me, Kevin.
All right, Joe, I want to get to this game with the Lightning and the Calgary Flames, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and all the star power that they have, right? Kucherov, Braden Point, the names are always a popular team for people to bet on a night-to-night basis, props, side, totals, whatever it might be. How are you looking to bet their game with the Calgary Flames tonight?
Okay, it breaks my heart to say it because I am a Calgary Flames fan, but I think they're going to get run over tonight by the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning have been so phenomenally strong at home. When you look at Andre Vasilevsky getting the start here for them, he's only been playing better and better each and every one of these games. Calgary selling off their pieces. Noah Hanifin going last night. Jacob Markstrom still in the big talks of if he will be gone, and frustration out of him for how this whole trade deadline is coming around him. So I'm looking at the Lightning to be able to get the win. I think you look at them here in regulation, that's coming in at minus 105. But as the day goes on, I really do think it's probably a puck line win for them here. A nice big one. So I don't mind laying the 1.5 on the puck line, Kevin. I just think this team at home, Stamkos, you can look at for the anytime goal at plus 195, or Kucherov. He's coming in at plus 105. I think they dominate tonight.
And we just talked to Tom Vecchio, who mentioned Kucherov for 2+ points. So certainly expecting some offense there from Tampa's best. How about the Blues heading to Jersey right here as a dog at about plus 145, give or take. This total here at 6.5. Joe, there are a couple of ways you can play this one with New Jersey and St. Louis.
There absolutely is. And until about 30 seconds before I came on here, I didn't realize Tyler Toffoli isn't in the lineup tonight for the New Jersey Devils. I believe he's going to be going to Vancouver. He's held out of the lineup for trade deadline reasons. So he is on the move. Nico Dawes has been bleeding these goals, and the New Jersey Devils defense hasn't been giving him the support. While we look at Jordan Binnington has been playing strong, phenomenally strong in his career versus the New Jersey Devils as well. I'm going to take Jordan Binnington over 30.5 save shots on goal. That's coming in at minus 118. I think he stands nice and tall. You can also look at the St. Louis Blues over 2.5 for their team total at minus 132. With Tyler Toffoli off the ice, Kevin, I'm taking the St. Louis Blues straight up on the money line. I think Binnington can do enough to steal this win for them on the road.
Yeah, listen, you got to adjust there. It was a few years ago when I realized how fluid those goalkeeper situations can be on the ice, and obviously they always make the difference. Joe, how about we turn back the clock a little bit here and put Sid the Kid and Ovi in the spotlight? Anytime for me, I see Penguins, Capitals, that's where my mind races to. Pittsburgh is a minus 170 home favorite. You were telling me they are being talked about quite a bit, though. As far as trade rumors go, how do you feel Pittsburgh is going to handle tonight's game with Washington?
Oh, this is going to be a hard one for both of these teams. I'm looking at this to still be a storyline around Sid and Ovechkin in this one. I would look at both of their anytime goals or their points. Now, you look at Ovechkin for his anytime points, that's coming in at plus 300. Sid's coming in at plus 148 for the 2+ points. So the book's expecting more likely for Sid to be able to get them, but I'm not writing off Ovechkin. I think this is an absolute battle out there on the ice. And while a lot of people thinking this could go strong defensive one, I'm not buying into that. Darcy Kemper getting the start here for the Washington Capitals. I haven't trusted him. He was a fantastic goalie behind the defense of the Colorado Avalanche, behind this Washington's defense that's been not giving the support. I can't trust him out there, especially against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have been lighting the lamp. So I'm looking at this one to go over that total of 6.5. You also look at the Washington Capitals. They're playing so aggressive offensively as of late, which is allowing goals to come in by their opponents because they're letting down at that other end. So I think over 6.5, look at Ovi and look at Sid for their points or their anytime goals tonight, Kevin.
All right, Joe, I want to pair two games together here. One at 8:10 and then one at 9:10 Eastern time here. These puck drops. Buffalo goes to Nashville, booked as a plus 130 road dog. Minnesota goes to Arizona, booked as a minus 140 road favorite. Both of these game totals are 6.5. What are you going to do with Buffalo, Nashville, and Minnesota, Arizona?
They're not the prettiest games on deck tonight, but I do think still an opportunity to make money on the Preds, on the puck line in the first period. Laying that half a goal in the first period for the Predators, you're getting that at plus 138. The Buffalo Sabres on the second night of the back-to-back. Comrie getting the start here, and Comrie not a solid goaltender for the Sabres. He's 1-6 on the season with a 3.87 goals against average. So I got to look at this Preds team to come out hot out of the gate off that loss to Montreal. And then looking at the Minnesota Wild versus the Arizona Coyotes here, the Wild feel like the right team in this matchup, but I could see a way the Arizona Coyotes break this losing streak. They've lost their last 6 at home. I think it could happen. Marc-Andre Fleury and net for the Wild, and the Arizona Coyotes starting Vejmelka here. My problem with the Wild tonight is their look-ahead situation. They play the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow, who are sitting third in the Central, and I do think this is a team that we'll see let down in that third period, and the Coyotes will continue to fight in this one and can pull off the win. So give me the over 6.5. I think both of these teams are able to score the goals in this one, Kevin.
12-game board here of NHL action, 9 down, 3 to go. We're going to have Joe Madden stick around here and finish out this NHL slate. At the top of hour number 2, Coach James Young's going to get in the fold. We're going to get some of his NBA picks for that early 7 o'clock window. Talk about the impact of the Karl Anthony Towns news as well. And, of course, keep you updated on Pepperdine, Pacific. Game time decisions. We'll be right back.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
4.22. The fat man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. All right, we're back right here with Joe Madden. We've got 3 more games to get to on tonight's NHL board. The best of the bunch, Joe, would be Vegas-Vancouver. The Knights, a slight home favorite here against the Canucks. What do you see?
Well, you got to look at the Vancouver Canucks here on the road. I trust in this team. They're playing the better hockey right now. The Vegas Golden Knights have been absolutely struggling, putting Mark Stone on the long-term injury reserve. Jack Eichel has played a couple of these games, but hasn't been in all of them. I don't think they have what it takes to beat the Vancouver Canucks in this one. So this is Vancouver's last road game, something to note until April 2nd when they come back here to Vegas to play. So they've got 9 home games ahead of them. I think they want to get this win, and you're getting a little bit of plus money here on Vancouver on the road. I just can't trust what we've seen out of Vegas as of late. While they're buying, they're going to be solid, just not in this game tonight, Kevin.
Joe, Isles in the spot. We don't typically see them minus 300, and it's on the road. Again, speaks to what's going on with San Jose. What do you see in this game?
Well, the Sharks have been competitive as of late, so I could make a full reason here for you why you should take the Sharks at home to pull off the upset. I don't know if I can stomach it tonight, Kevin, with everything that's happening with the trade deadline. It's just so much stress and pressure. I don't want to be stressing the Sharks. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game, and my confidence does come in the Islanders to get those goals on the board. I'm going to take their team total over 3.5 in this one, and I like the puck line laying the 1.5 at minus 108.
And then, Joe, quickly, what do you think about the LA Kings and the Ottawa Senators?
The Sens are completely done. They're going to struggle to be able to score in this one tonight on Cam Talbot. He's been phenomenally hot. Corpusalo, on the other hand, hasn't. I think the Kings can come out and cover this puck line tonight. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with them. We are getting plus money at plus 128. I will do even an alt line in this one, laying 2.5. That's how much confidence I have in the Kings tonight, Kevin.
All 12, as always. And Joe Madden, we will see you this weekend for the NHL slate. Appreciate it. Best of luck tonight.
Best of luck to everyone. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, coming up next, Coach James Young. We'll be right back here at Game Time Decisions. We're back right here, SportsGrid Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh with you. It is a Thursday night. Appreciate Tom Vecchio, Joe Madden stopping by, helping us get set for a lot of the NHL slate, some of the NBA with Tom as well. 7 o'clock in the NBA, Detroit, Brooklyn, Indiana, Minnesota. The big news of the day in the NBA. Karl Anthony Towns, torn meniscus. No set timetable at the moment for when he will be back, but that certainly is a blow to the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see how they handle it tonight. I was tempted by, and I want to get you guys the most updated number on it, at Anthony Edwards over points plus assist prop. His points prop, though, got on the move, and understandably so. 35.5 is that number. On the year, Ant has played 2 games without Cat. 34 points, 10 assists, 34 points, 5 assists. So obviously through that number on both occasions here, playing a team like Indiana, it is not a bad look, but I'm not going to run to the window yet. I'm not sure. Look, Anthony Edwards is a really good player, but consistently 30 a night, because that's what he's going to have to be for the remaining 15, 20 games that this team has, which is a lot of basketball for Anthony Edwards. I'm going to pull back here. I want to see how things play out. We'll find our advantages eventually with this Minnesota team. I do have action on the game between Detroit and Brooklyn, which is going to be getting underway in less than 10 minutes with Cade Cunningham's 11.5 rebounds plus assists. Cade averaging nearly 13 already at home on the year. In his last 12 home games, 11-1 over this prop. 15-6 in 21 home games played. So let's get Cade Cunningham over this number. You want a little sneaky plus money? I saw, I think, plus 300 on a double-double. He has double-digit assists in all two home wins that he has played in so far this season. Radio audiences here. Appreciate everybody with us on a Thursday night across the network, Sirius XM. Channel 159, watching, listening to Game Time Decisions right here on SportsGrid. Let me, though, bring in Davis Maddock. He's done a great job all season long with the same game parlays. And I know he's always lining up the association. Let's see what Davis Maddock has SGP style.
All right, guys, we are back for another same game parlay over on the FanDuel Sportsbook, a potential finals preview in the NBA tonight. That is where we are turning our attention. The Boston Celtics at Denver Nuggets. We are going to begin by taking the Denver Nuggets money line on the over on 221.5. The Nuggets beat the Celtics in their prior matchup. The Nuggets are the best team in the NBA until proven otherwise, and I anticipate them taking this game incredibly seriously. Also, don't love the defensive matchup with Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis on Nikola Jokic. We are going to tack on Nikola Jokic to score 25 or more points in this game. Very hard for me to see this game going over or the Nuggets winning if Jokic is not able to put the biscuit in the basket. And then the secret key to the Denver Nuggets winning this game is going to be Aaron Gordon playing a backup center instead of Zeke Naji or DeAndre Jordan, as the Nuggets do when they get very serious about any given game. So we are going to take Aaron Gordon to record 6 or more rebounds in this game. This 4-leg same game parlay is going to give us plus 691 odds. Nuggets money line over 221. Nikola Jokic to score 25 or more points, and Aaron Gordon to record 6 or more rebounds. Good luck tonight, everybody.
All right, appreciate Davis there going with Denver in the big game tonight between the Nuggets and the Celtics. We'll get Coach's thoughts on that in a bit. But just want to let people know we've got a lot more of the tournament action getting underway. Some of the Patriot League as well as the Horizon League. The Colgate performances will be interesting to follow. Booked as a better than minus 200 favorite to win the conference tournament. The Patriot League is certainly going to be one bid. Colgate is a team I am sure you are aware of. Not this year, but you've heard of Colgate. They've been in plenty of tournaments. I think they've won this tournament specifically 4 or 5 years in a row. This is a down year for this Colgate team, though. They don't feel anywhere near as dangerous as prior iterations, so it will be interesting if they get in what we could see from them numbers-wise. Sunbelt action right now. Texas State's up 11. I believe they were a slight dog in that game over Southern Miss. We've got Lehigh Lafayette starting. Lehigh, the lower seed, favored in that game. Navy, Boston University. Boston is actually the 2 seed in that tournament. And then Bucknell, American. We're on that Bucknell team plus the 5.5. We've got then some of the other Horizon games as well. Youngstown State, Cleveland State, Oakland, Purdue, Fort Wayne. We are following along. I've got it in front of me here. with Pepperdine and Pacific. Right now, Pepperdine has 78 points with 9:32 left, which means we need, 17 points, which is a pace they've certainly kept. I will say this, Pacific is running a press down 50. I'm fine with that. Keep playing. If you're Pepperdine, though, just rip that to shreds. Obviously, that's not a dangerous press you're playing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be up 50. So here's the thing. And college basketball, certainly all sports, people talk about respect. You never want to run it up, right? But Pacific is well within their right to run press for the remaining 9 minutes of this game and try and make this look it's not going to look respectable in any capacity, but I don't know, lose by less than 40, and you'll be happy about that. In the same way, though, then, if they're going to try Pepperdine, right, or Pacific, then Pepperdine should do the same. Also, count your pennies. Come on, we're at the free throw line. Let's knock down a couple. I believe Coach James Young is in the mix. And JY, listen, I know you're a busy man, so I don't know if you were sat down in front of the television during the West Coast Conference tournament starting, but at half, 56-9 was the score between folks. You can't see him off camera. The face was great. The face is still there. JY, I got to ask you this, and I don't want to embarrass any team you've coached, but have you ever been down almost 50 at the break?
Yes.
What's that halftime speech like?
Shout out to my man, John Brown at Neptune High School. K-Dub?
Oh, no.
I was down, I'm not going to lie. John Brown, my team wasn't good. He had 3 Big East players. 2 that went to Rutgers, 1 went to Pitt. We were down 50-4 at the break. I told my kids, if they open up in a press, K-Dub, here's my press breaker. If they open up in a press, you take the ball and you give it to them. And just give them the ball. See if they want to score 100, 200, 300. Thank God for John Brown. He did not call the press off. But John, you my man. I love you. We've been friends for a long time. 50-35. JY got you from that 70-point beatdown in the state playoffs.
JY got his lick back. Quickly, Coach, just because it's going to start by the time we come back, JY's going to be here for a little bit. You like Detroit tonight?
I love the Pistons. Nets are a hot mess. Plus 2.5. Pistons actually steal it at home.
There you go. Little Pistons love for the people. We got a lot more NBA to break down with JY. As I mentioned, the impact of the Towns injury, that other game that is going to be starting in this 7-10 window here is Pacers Timberwolves. It's a big one. You're in the right spot. It's Game Time Decisions. We'll be right back.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. It's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
4.22. The fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. All right, we're live right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young is in the mix. Love to have him here. But also, Pepperdine Pacific, we're just watching. Need 9 more with 6:45 left. We like that.
Oh, 9 more?
We like that. We're going to follow it along. Need 9 more from Pepperdine. JY.
Uh-oh.
I love you. Please. I watched UConn last night. 8 minutes left. I needed 9 more from UConn. I got 2 more. From the Huskies. So, hey, JY, ask me if I think UConn's the best team in the country. Go ahead, ask me.
Who's the best team in the country, K-Dub? Say it.
UConn. UConn. No, it's UConn. But they really upset me last night. All right, let's make it happen here, JY. Let's make it happen here. College-wise, look, I know the board's a little all over the place because so many people are dialed in to the lower conferences right now with the tournament starting. Only 2 ranked games in action. What are you doing with tonight's college slate, JY?
Oh, K-Dub. It's a Jersey delight. Let's start off with,
Oh, boy.
Right, let's go this one. No. Pull it back up, guys. I'll go with the late game first. Let's go Washington State. Minus 6.5 at home versus Washington. Listen, this is a Washington State team I think could make a run to the Final Four. Very underrated. Kyle Smith should be someone that you should be talked about as getting a big-time job, Kyle. And if you look at the trends, I know they have not, Washington, not covered in 1 out of the last 5 games. You look at a team like Washington State, just had a big win by 12 over UCLA as a 6.5-point favorite. This team is trending, Kevin. They could win the Pac-12 tournament. Remember, folks, they beat Arizona twice. Give me the Washington State Cougars minus 6.5.
JY, let's stick with the Pac-12 here. This is a really big game. You know, it's funny, right? Like Washington State, Washington is a big game for the Pac-12 regular season, Pac-12 tournament seeding. But Washington has no chance to get in, and the Cougars are already in. Oregon, Colorado? Buffs are trying to get in. Ducks are, probably done, but you never know, right? What do you see here in this other Pac-12 matchup you're on?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Colorado because I think, Kevin, you made the point. Like, they have a lot to play for. You know, this is a chance for a team that could get into the NCAA tournament. This is someone that would have had Jeff Goodman on earlier this year on my Betting Above the Rim podcast. Remember, it downloads every Tuesday and Thursday to all of your social media devices. Anyway, I thought that this team was going to be a sleeper to make a Final Four run, or at least Goodman did, and they've been really bad, Kevin. They've been 3-7 against the spread their last 10 games. Oregon, not much better. They're 2-8. So I'm going to take the better team who's got more to play for. Give me the Buffs plus the points on the road.
I love the plug. I love the plug.
Little plug.
I love the plug. No, it worked for me. It worked for me big time. I know this game already started, but a little Big Ten battle here with Wisconsin and Rutgers, JY. What did you like here?
R-U-R-U-R-U, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. I love them tonight. I know, folks, they can't score. But, folks, have y'all watched Wisconsin late? I mean, it's only one, 8-1 against the spread the last 10 games, and they lose to everybody and get crushed by everybody. This is a team, Wisconsin, Kevin, that went from probably like a 2-line to maybe out of the tournament in 6 weeks, which is completely wild. So I thought for this game, a team like Rutgers who can defend will keep the game close. I think Rutgers plus 9.5, too many points. Give me the Rutgers Scarlet Knights plus 9.5. Kevin, I think they're up 12-8 early in this game.
All right, they are up. Okay, I'm happy for you. Hold on. Wisconsin's not out of the tournament, okay? Right now, most recent bracket matrix, they're in every bracket, okay? Did he freeze? Did he freeze? I thought you were frozen. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm not mad at that, JY. I'm not mad at that. I am mad at you saying Wisconsin, okay, might not make the tournament, though. Right now, projected on the 6th line. Leave the Badgers alone, all right? We got preseason futures. We're rooting on the Badgers. Pepperdine update. Everybody wants it. 91 points, 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. How do you feel about that, JY? We need 4 points.
Hey, listen, if you're a walk-on, screw the offense. Just slug it. Shoot the ball, throw it at the basket.
Just keep going.
Fire away. Hey, fire away. Go ahead, Pepperdine. It's your bad self.
I mean, look, these are these are D1 players, but you could see why they're on the bench. I'm going to just be honest, okay? We'll be honest, all right? Listen, that's all I'm saying, okay? And I won't say much more than that. I got a quick question for you, JY, since we're talking the college game here. There was a little movement on Tennessee in the market. National title odds, Final Four odds. And that's because a lot of these brackets are projecting Tennessee to get that 4th 1 seed. It feels pretty obvious, right? Purdue, Connecticut, and Houston will be taking down 3 of the 4 1 seeds, right? And you actually can't find a bracket right now that does not have those 3 on the 1 line. There's not a single one, at least within reason, okay? You Bracket Matrix tracks 113 different bracketologists. Tennessee, if they get the 1 line, there is a gap between 7-1 and it's Purdue and Houston. It's now 10-1 on the Vols. Do you feel Tennessee is closer to those top 3 teams, or are they a tier below, which would be fine, but where do you view Tennessee?
I think they're at a tier below. And I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I think UConn is the best team in the country. I think it's Houston. Then I put Purdue, and then there's a drop-off. And here's the thing. Out of all these teams, Tennessee, 10-1. Arizona, 12-1. Carolina, 23-1, along with Duke. Creighton, 25-1, and along with Marquette. I'll tell you something. Auburn, I would say 25-1. Intriguing. And Creighton, 25-1. And Kevin, I can't sleep on Kansas at 30-1. I know, Kevin and I have talked about it. McCullough was out. He was back. They haven't played right. But Kevin, you know with that coach who's won in the past, with senior leadership, with a Biggin Dickinson, with a Garden Harris, with McCullough, they still, to me, at 30-1, I'm waiting, because I don't think Kansas has played anywhere near their best ball. Kevin, if they get hot for 3 weeks, Kansas could beat every team on this board. Every last one of them. And I really believe that 30-1, they need to be considered to be a play, especially, Kevin, If you get an option for them to cash out, just let them get to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. Cash out. You're guaranteed to make yourself some money.
So I will say, Joe, and again, it's a lot of good breakdowns there. I'm very interested in, at this point, though, I am going to wait for the bracket to drop because that's just, I've talked, this is the example I'm going to continue to use, even though it may not play out exactly this way. But I very recently saw a bracket where the 8-9 game in a region was Gonzaga against Michigan State. That is tough. Here's the other update. I said JY and I were going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Karl Anthony Towns situation. Anthony Edwards is exiting this game with an ankle injury.
Oh, boy.
10 seconds in.
Oh.
Now, I don't know. I don't know how bad it is. I am not one of the, listen, there's a lot of good people you can find who can do that injury analysis. And Anthony Edwards is back. So all of a sudden, their season being over has stopped. He did legitimately go to the locker room, but he is back in the mix there. We will talk about Karl Anthony Towns' injury, though, and the rest of the NBA slate next right here. It is Game Time Decisions. It is a Thursday night. We are on SportsGrid.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. Hey, welcome to Game Time Decisions. Home of the Pepperdine Waves. I mean, JY, how are we feeling?
Oh, I mean, I'm so excited for you. I didn't bet it. I'm going to hit the whoa for our audience right now.
There he goes. Look, I mean, here's all I'm saying. Get your Pepperdine national title tickets before it's too late. I mean, this team's crazy. I mean, this team's got something. All right, now that that's over, now that I can turn off the 54-point lead that Pepperdine has, JY, maybe we should talk about the association tonight. Look, I want to get to just any of the 7:30 games here in case you are going to be wagering. There's just the one. It's Dallas-Miami. Is there anything that you were looking for in Mavs Heat? I actually laid the 4.5 here with the Dallas Mavericks. What about yourself?
I'm going to go Bam over 20.5 points. I think styles make fights. I think Bam with no Tyler Hero. If I'm not mistaken, I think Tyler Hero's out. This is the guy that could become the number one scorer. And then I'm looking at, honestly, folks, like Lively. I like him as a rookie. Daniel Gafford. They can't check Bam. The problem with Bam is, will Bam show up? I think he does. 20.5 points. Give me Bam Adebayo.
Ooh, a little Bam action there. Can't get mad at that, JY. Let me skip ahead to the big game tonight. Denver-Boston. Look, man. You know all the talking points that come out of a Denver Nuggets win. Is that what you see here tonight? What are you looking for?
Kevin, I know this sounds crazy. I'm thinking this as a coach more than anything. Like, no, I didn't look at odds. I didn't look at anything. I was looking as a coach. You're Boston. You're up 22 in the fourth quarter. And you lose. And here you go, and you got to play the defending champions after having a long winning streak. To me, sounds like a statement game. Give me the Celtics. They win in Denver tonight.
It's an interesting thing. I think the value is on the Denver line, right? I think there's value on the Denver money line, but it's a one-game situation. I think it's a much bigger spot for Boston. I do. Denver, by the way, Mike Malone's talked about this. They've not been playing great basketball, Denver. They've been winning a lot of games. Their first loss since the break was against Phoenix, but they've not been playing. And again, it's a high bar. I know. This isn't Nuggets slander at all. It's a good spot for Boston. No way am I laying in Denver. No way. 24-6 at home. But again, I can't knock the play, Coach. Talk to me about this game. We'll stay in the 10 o'clock slate. Golden State and Chicago. What do you make of the Warriors here? What a bounce back, honestly, right? After that Celtics loss against Milwaukee?
Oh, I mean, listen, what they did to Milwaukee is it was downright criminal. I mean, Steph Curry thought he was Tiger Woods, Tiger Hoods, whatever he was. He was working his pitch and putt game during. But here's why I like Golden State. It's very simple, folks. You know JY's logic. Both teams are on a back-to-back. One team won by like 40 at home. The other team, 2-point game, craziness that thing with John Collins getting into one of the assistant coaches. They're going to fly from Utah to Golden State on a back-to-back. Listen, I'm not saying Golden State is going to win a title. I don't even know if they get to the Final 8. But they're playing better. And after Chicago's been a disappointment all year, and now they're going to go on a back-to-back after a big win at Utah, I can't see this happening. Give me the Warriors minus the points. I think it's 7.5. Give me Golden State.
I'm playing the over in the game, JY, at 223. I think Golden State's defensive effort was going to be huge, right, for that game. But I think it comes back a little bit here. No rest. Both of these teams play a lot of overs when they're playing without rest. Just let me do a check-in with you on this, because we're a pair of guys on an updated win total for Milwaukee. Any concern that they left home and got thrashed the way that they did last night?
No. I mean, listen, because I think there's so much pressure. Listen, folks, they do have the third toughest schedule left to go the rest of the way, right? 19 games. They still got Boston twice, OKC twice, Clippers once, I think New Orleans once, Orlando twice, and Phoenix once. I think there's enough pride on this team that they're going to get their team win total over. Because to me, Kevin, it's about mojo. It's really important for this team to be coming into the playoffs playing well. I think it's very important. I like their team win total over, especially now that they got off to a good start. One game, Kevin, is not going to turn me off on Milwaukee. No way. It means too much to Doc.
No, I think that's fair. And then we'll close out your card, and then again, we'll hit some of the stuff going on. Phoenix, Toronto. What a win for the Suns. Here's the thing. They had the chance to steal a great win against the Thunder and blew it. Then they had a dominant win against Denver and almost blew it. If they would have lost both of those, we'd be having a different conversation right now. Instead, they got a great win. Durant iced it. He forced OT as well with the made three-point shot and stopped a very painful loss on the best bet, so I was grateful for that. What do you think of Phoenix and Toronto, JY?
Really quick. Hey, by the way, Detroit 24-8 over Brooklyn. How you doing?
Yep.
Anyway.
Cade Cunningham looks good.
Give me Phoenix minus a point. Kevin, a lot of folks have to understand a lot of my bets or my thoughts, as much as it's analytics, it's about coaching, okay? You have a Phoenix team that's got the hardest schedule, now second hardest behind Utah, left in the NBA this year, right? You just come off almost blowing a game, but still a 10-point win versus Denver. You cannot lay an egg versus the Toronto Raptors team that has not covered 4 straight games. You can't. You can't play around with this game. So to me, Phoenix minus 10.5. If you're worried about the whole game, folks, go first half and think that they just jumped them early. It's a big game for Phoenix. Folks, these games become big down the stretch because of matchups, especially with a team that could be looking at the play-in tournament based on how they end. Phoenix, I think, rolls them. Like I said, if you don't want to take the whole game, take them in the first half. They should jump out early versus Toronto.
All right, Joey, let's talk Karl Anthony Towns. Torn meniscus. We're not really sure what that's going to look like for his team. So I kind of set the stage for people. Last year, they were 15-14 with Cat. They were 27 and 26 without Cat. They managed to play some 500 ball. With Karl Anthony Towns this year, they are 41-19. Karl hasn't missed a lot of games. They have one of the very best records in basketball. I believe at the moment, the second best to only the Boston Celtics.
Correct.
What went wrong for that team last year more than anything else was not having Cat and not having the continuity. I don't know if all of this will translate into the playoffs. But I know that if they don't have Karl Anthony Towns for the playoffs, JY, they become the top seed that everybody hopes to draw from that play-in group. Maybe I'm overstating it, though. What do you make of Minnesota?
No, Kevin, I think you're pretty good. I think what you also need to look at, folks, is if you want to start looking at props, I would look at the Rudy props. I really would. I would look at his points plus rebounds because of the fact of increased usage, attacking the O boards, and generally maybe more playing time. So I would be looking at Rudy Gobert. I would also be looking at someone like a in this game tonight, slow-mo, pride of Jersey City, St. Anthony's, Kyle Anderson, moves to the starting lineup. Maybe look for him, not points, folks, because Kyle doesn't score. Maybe rebounds plus assists, because he's kind of that junkyard dog mentality of assists, rebounds, share the ball. So to me, yes, they are vulnerable, and teams are lighting them up. Kevin, I would say this, and I'll throw this back to you, because I talked about this on the podcast. Before he got hurt, I thought OKC was more vulnerable in the playoffs because of their defense. Am I wrong, or do you think healthy OKC or Minnesota? Who would you be more worried about in the playoffs?
I think they are both, and this is kind of what happens when you have younger teams, maybe. The Timberwolves are young, very matchup dependent. If OKC gets matched up with the Lakers, that's a bad matchup for them because it allows AD to be at his best, right?
Terrible.
For Minnesota, we can throw Rudy at him, Cat, we can hang there, right? If the Warriors are going to step into the fold, I think the Thunder would probably boat race them, right? There's just too much youth on that basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Minnesota would have the sauce for Golden State. So I think, JY, I think it's a very complicated thing. I will tell people this. Minnesota is up 14 right now on Indiana at last look, 29-15, okay? We have seen this a lot. JY knows this from the coach. First game without a star, whole team steps up. Hey, you can't pick on us. Whole team step. JY's doing it right there. Second leg of a back-to-back at Cleveland. I'll give you a little early line style. If that line gets posted tonight, bet the Cavs. Doesn't matter the number. Doesn't matter the number because Minnesota all of a sudden, Ant, sit down. You're not playing. Rudy, you're old. Sit down. You're not playing. And all of a sudden, that'll close 12. And Kyle Anderson will have a points prop of 19.5 out of nowhere. So those are the things you got to keep your eye on here. We'll see, man. At Cleveland, at the Lakers, at the Clippers, at Utah. Interesting stretch of basketball for Minnesota. JY, you're the best. Appreciate it as always. And again, he's live this weekend. Little BATR, him and Scotty Farrell.
Oh, Pepperdine, over!
JY loves this Pepperdine. The people love the Pepperdine. Consig is in next.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
4.22, the fastest man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. We're live. It's a Thursday. Man, I got to tell you, folks, we'll go a little behind the curtain. I'm loving life right now. I'm being honest with you. I hope you are as well. If you're not, it'll get better. Things are good. We're flowing here. It's March. We're hockey guys. There's hockey trades. Are they moving numbers? No, we don't care about it then. We're not worried about it. Baseball's around the corner. I'm telling you, guys in the back, pumped. That means I got to step up, okay? Because I can hear it. They think, like, oh, we're going to know more than K-Dub about the baseball. I'm not going to let that happen. No way. NBA slate tonight, gorgeous, love it. College hoops, we're betting Bucknell.
Oh, boy.
And it's not. And by the way, it's not all going well. But we're in a good headspace, Dave. We're in a good headspace.
It's not going as bad as it was for Pacific today against Pepperdine here in Vegas, is it? That went pretty bad for them. They had 9 points at half. 9.
We Pepperdine second half live team total 94.5. Thank you.
Over.
Thank you. Sizzle. Little live sizzle, Dave. We brought back the IGL for the people. They were asking. We had to. It had to be done. There's hoops on all day. All day. Now,
all day.
Here's the question I just came to me. See? That's what happens. We're just flowing here. All these conference tournaments start, right?
Yeah.
How in the room do they figure out who books 9:30 Georgia Southern, South Alabama? 9:30 local. Who's booking that?
Hopefully it's the guy that works the weekends in the morning, Otherwise, it's a fun experience for the mid shift and the evening shift guys who are actually, booking the games live and putting up halftime numbers. The morning guys a lot of times set the lines in Vegas and then they kind of sit and wait for anything to happen, but they're never around when the games go. So that one had to have someone all tied up today. Somebody sent me the text. It was 53-9 at halftime. 53-9. Like, there's not an algorithm or anything that can help that. So glad you got on that team total over Pepperdine. That was a good play. That was good getting over 100. I was going to go to the game. We had a couple oddsmaker friends who zipped over, mid-afternoon game. The conference tournaments are here in Vegas, so it's a quick little text. Hey, you want to run over to the game, see this, that? I did that the other night. I saw UNLV beat San Diego State. That was fun.
Okay.
Kind of got me ready for the March thing. I did the North Carolina over the weekend. UNLV here. Mountain West is coming. West Coast Conference, that's for people like you, like me, who just look at the numbers. It's fun.
So I was going through it today because it started today. And so Dave knows this from when we did all the radio together. Nobody is quicker to fire the guys in the room than me. I mean it with love. But I give them credit when it is due. They basically booked the Gonzaga St. Mary's money line when they play head-to-head in the outright market. And they're like, this is what the money line will be when they play. But if you want to bet any of these other nonsense teams, go ahead. We'll price those too. That's how it looked to me, the outright market for the WCC. I don't know if you put eyes on it. Zags were minus 140, and I saw the St. Mary's line at plus 125.
That's exactly what it is. That's all it is. Have you seen that bracket? We put
It's
that
the
bracket
best.
up today on
It's the
Bostonian
best.
versus the book.
It's the best.
The brackets get me excited. I don't know what it is, whether
like the
it's the
brackets.
geometrical shape of them or whatever it is, but this is that time of year. But that West Coast Conference bracket, Pepperdine and Pacific, Pacific didn't really play today, but it starts today, and there's games tomorrow, and then there's games Saturday. Then there's nothing on Sunday, and welcome Gonzaga and St. Mary's to the semifinals. A triple bye? They got to win two games to win the conference tournament. That's what that's what those numbers say. But there's gold. There's gold all over these conference tournament odds. I know you've been looking. Did you actually bet Bucknell today? Is that real?
Yeah, plus 5.5. We're on the Norse plus 7.5. Northern Kentucky against Wright State. We're zagging on the people a little bit today, so we'll see how it goes. Well, Bucknell looks good. They're a live 6.5 point favorite, Bucknell. So you can't ask for much more than that. Oh,
Last
I
time
bet
we
your
were
favorite
together
team
on Tuesday, by the way, that North Carolina worked out pretty good. That quick pick.
Whoa, what a sizzle! What a sizzle! But here's the thing: they don't all work out. Chanticleer's 3 o'clock tip did not work out. We caught 11.5. They went down by 14. It is what it is. Three of 20 from 3. It was a bit of a mess. Wait, do me a favor.
Nobody says Chanticleer is better than you. Nobody. Nope.
Listen, I think a part of me bet that game for you. Here is a game I'm sure you'll talk about on In-Game Live tonight, but I want to cheat since I have you now. Columbus is up 3-0 on Edmonton. Okay?
Right.
That's going to catch attention. 285 Edmonton money line. Live total 7.5. 2.5 puck line. A little expensive, but still. What do you think of the Edmonton-Columbus? Edmonton was minus 300 on the road pregame.
Columbus has played a couple really good games as of late. They score goals. What's the total in that? 7.5 or 8.5?
7.5, 148 though. So expensive.
Little steep, but that's going over. Expect the Oilers to come back. If they get the next goal, they'll get the next 2. So if you want to take that puck line plus a goal and a half, if you can find it, slide that slider over on some of these apps. Just take a goal and a half. They're not losing by multiple goals. They'll lose by 1 if they somehow come back and then blow it in overtime. They're not.
So
Columbus not
Edmonton plus 134 plus a goal and a half, minus 152 plus 2.5. I think you'd rather lay the juice, wouldn't you? That extra goal could be
if you
valuable.
could take 2.5 in a game, yeah, you take the 2.5. But I know you're averse to the juice.
With the hockey, we gotta. Yeah. With the hockey, it's a balancing act.
Right.
But we'll see how it goes. I'm sure for you, favorite game to you tonight, was it Boston-Toronto because it's the best game, or was it Ovechkin-Crosby because they deserve that kind of respect?
The Ovechkin-Crosby has lost a little bit of luster. It used to be a must-watch television. It was a good opportunity to look at their props and maybe, make a play here and there. But the Penguins they're sellers. They traded Gensel. That was the big news. He's gone to Carolina. That's big. I don't think they're done. Word on the street is they might move one of the, big 3. They're not moving Crosby or Malkin. So it's Letang possibly, but there's more guys going behind it. The reality of the situation is the Penguins aren't going to make the playoffs. So they're going to make moves. They're going to get old quick. They did get old quick. So yeah, Toronto, Boston, because Boston always beats the Leafs. Always. As good as the Leafs are, they always beat the Leafs. It was a short price today, minus 135, minus 140. Yeah, I like Boston.
It got bet up. I think there might have been a goalkeeper change or something, but it got bet up. Minus 150-ish. Yeah. It closed. So that's the movement.
What about the other
Luka heating up here a little bit.
What about, that's the game of the night. I got the Nugget stuff on. This
looks good.
Jokic
is
that back in the day?
Is that AI? Is that Melo? What is that? Melo.
No, Jokic.
Wow. If anybody wants a little insight. Now, that's not my fault entirely. That is the old school jersey. But I saw 15. I went confirmation Melo. What old school 15 yoke? Interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. The Melo jersey was the
one. I
one.
like the baby blue. Anything with the baby blue, I like, and I saw.
You're a big baby blue guy these days.
Oh, big time. Always have been.
Hot on the baby blue. Wow.
Yeah. First jersey ever, Pittsburgh Penguins baby blue, 1974-75. First one of my life. I was on a hockey team. Had it. It was beautiful. They went to black and gold. That's neither here nor there. It's Nuggets.
Who else has the
Nuggets
Celtics
tonight?
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. Now, the value is on Denver. Mm-hmm. If this was a finals game, it'd be Denver minus 3.5.
No
the
question.
Spot is Boston. So I am not betting the side here. I know some people you're not bet. If I had to bet it, I'd bet Denver because here's what I'll use for the numbers, right? Here's what I'll use. I wrote this down, right? So Boston is 48-13, so they win 78.7% of their games. Denver is 42-20, so they win 67.7% of their games. So Boston, better, gap, cool. But where's the game? This is why home court advantage matters.
Yes.
Boston is 19-10 on the road. Fantastic. That's 65.5% win rate. Denver at home is 24-6. That is an 80% win clip. That is a 15% gap. My point is, Denver at home, just like Boston at home, is significantly better. And Boston comes back a bit on the road. It's relative what they do. That's why, this game you can kind of use to explain to, hey, why do we shift lines because of home court? Because the Nuggets win 80% of their home games, and they're 500 on the road.
Yes.
Because Boston wins 90% of their home games, and they win 60% of them on the road. That's why. So the value's on Denver, but I don't like the spot. What good is value if my bet's going to lose? That's kind of what it comes down to.
I like that. We should put that on a T-shirt. That's pretty good. What about the total? I think it's a dead under. It's a dead under game. No?
Here's the thing. I've seen these games. Usually, they don't land anywhere near the total. You always point this out, which I've always really appreciated. Games land on numbers, right? And then people go, gosh, these people in Vegas are incredible. And you go, well, what about when a game goes under by 30 points? Why don't we ever call them, this game doesn't land between, this game doesn't land 218, right?
No.
This game's a rock fight, or both these teams get hot. I'd rather play like an over 232.5 alt and just see if one of them gets red hot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Instead of playing a straight number, I'd rather see if one of them can bang it out of the water. I'm on the Jokic prop, though. 8.5 times.
Ooh. I like that. Is he get a triple-double? I mean, this is one of those bets. It just seems like it's a regular thing.
He lands 9 more times. I'll tell you this. He lands 9 way more than people would like. and as often as the books need, I'll tell you that. All right?
Right.
They like this guy in the room. He has plenty of triple-doubles. I'm not saying he doesn't. But you bet a guy for a triple-double, and the 9 is an ugly number. You bet a guy for a triple-double, he gets 6 assists. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
It's all good. 9?
Can I ask you real quick, because I ain't going to see you tomorrow? What happened to the Lakers last night? Sacramento's laying a huge number tonight at home against San Antonio. I try to advocate for your Lakers. I can't do it anymore, K-Dub. It's over. It's a wrap. It's done.
Let me just say that. No.
No?
Never bet that team while they're playing well. That's not when you bet the Lakers. That's not when you bet. The second, I'll tell you this right now. I'll put it a better way. The second the guys in the room start booking the Lakers with respect, get out of Dodge. Whoa! Warning, red alert. Is that a Lakers number? Other side. We know this. We've seen this.
Yeah.
The other night they laid 14 of the Wizards on a back-to-back. The Wizards took it to OT. No problem. That's not when you bet the Lake. No, that's not how that goes. Come on now.
He can't beat Sacramento, though. Sacramento got something on him. Sacramento's 6 of the last 7.
Yeah,
Sacramento won.
A little trend there. Lakers will get him the next one. How about that? Thanks, Consig. We'll get him a best bet the other way.
Laying points on the road in college basketball is an absolute landmine. I would not do it. I won't do it the rest of the year. I'm done doing that because it just consistently loses.
I mean, 3 possessions in a 9-point game in which the opposition now is the clock, not the actual team you're facing, right?
Right.
And these guys are taking up shots. I mean, it's just like, that's why it's the NBA.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Athletes in Canada, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, no longer can be part of these sports betting ads.
Now, what's interesting is there is technically a carve-out that will still let these athletes and celebrities appear in sportsbook ads, but it's only if those ads are slanted toward responsible gaming. So you could still have a Connor McDavid saying, hey, bet responsibly on TV in Ontario.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
4.22. The fast man alive.
The guy just made himself a whole lot of money, did he not? By now holding the record for the fastest 40-yard dash. But if it's one thing we know is that doesn't translate into quality football players in the NFL. So somebody will bite and overdraft him because he simply ran faster than everyone else. It's just rinse and repeat.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid. What a night it has been here on Game Time Decisions. Appreciate everybody who's watched along, stopped by, helped behind the scenes. Shout out Joe Madden, Dave Sharapan, Coach James Young, and Tom Vecchio supplying the plays. Let's get one more on the board before in-game live starts. It's your game of the night. It's the Celtics in Denver against the Nuggets. A huge game for the Jason Tatum MVP discourse. Ugh. A huge game for Nikola Jokic to lock up this award as well. And why not do it with over 8.5 assists? Clear and obvious bounce back spot for the Joker, who has missed this prop in 3 consecutive games. He is 3-1 in preventing a 4-game understreak on this number. More importantly, coming off of a game with just 5 assists, and that was the overtime loss of the Phoenix Suns. That was his 8th such game. In the follow-up game, he is 6-1 over the 8.5 number when he had 5 or less in a game. So for Nikola Jokic in this spot against Boston, at home as well, where he's averaging over 9 assists on the year, give me Nikola Jokic over 8.5 assists. Lean toward, it's just, don't, you know what, I was going to tell you the side, don't worry about it, you don't need it. Here's what side you do need. San Antonio, plus the 11. Great spot, great number. Kings, second leg of a back-to-back, 3-6 against the spread without rest, and 10-15 as a home favorite this year. Think San Antonio can hang, maybe even surprise them outright. We're also on the over with the Bulls and the Warriors. Both these teams, when they play without rest, hit overs at better than 60%, and they are both playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. And then as far as the college game goes, we're rooting in Bucknell, and soon we will be rooting in Northern Kentucky, plus 7.5. Some live action out there. Cade Cunningham, the Dallas Mavericks, a slow start, plenty of time to bounce back, and of course, those Bucknell Bison. That will do it for a Thursday Game Time Decisions. Tomorrow, it is Joe Ranieri. He will knock it out of the park. And on Saturday and Sunday, at 11 a.m., we are live right here on SportsGrid. That Saturday college slate is incredible. The NBA steps up as always, and we dial into that Arnold Palmer. It's some big names out there. I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you then. Good luck.